Hi everybody, I have not been in Birch Bay for a little while. I'm going back to the Thousand Trails for a couple of days and we'll see whether or not my tent is messed with this time in a couple night excursion. This tent is a pretty cheapo tent that I'm bringing, but I'm not going to be happy if they mess with it, and I have a feeling that they might, but we'll see. I'm still dealing with my court case. The next court date is on the April 7th in about a week. There are no seagulls here right now. There was 3 seagulls here about 10 minutes ago, and I didn't watch to see which way they went, but it's this is looking pretty bad. This is usually an area for seagulls, so I'm not sure what's going on here, because ever since they redid this beach, and I don't know if that's why, I have no idea what happened, but ever since they redid this beach, I never see seagulls here anymore. I'm assuming there's still clams and crabs and stuff for them, but the seagulls are like all gone. So I'm not really sure what's going on. So we're like right by the convenience store right there. There's an RV park up that way. There's the that way over there is, I believe, no, because that's Semiahmoo over there. That's Semiahmoo on that side. That side is supposed to be Birch Bay Village, but I'm not sure that shouldn't be Birch Bay Village, I don't think, because the bus goes there. And I think Birch Bay Village is in the middle more instead of at the end. I don't know. Anyway, that's probably Canadian Islands that way. And I don't think that's Lummi Island right there. That island behind that land right there is most likely Orcas, because it has that big ass hump where Moran State Park I think is. So that's most likely Orcas that way, and then the mountain is that way. You can't see it, but the mountain is about right there, I think, usually. So anyway, that's the tour of Birch Bay. I don't want to run out my batteries when I just got here to Birch Bay, and one update is that I still have not had a meeting with any lawyers, and it's been almost a year and a half now since I got arrested, and I still have yet to have any meetings that didn't happen at the courthouse, like right before court type of thing, like 10 minutes before court type of thing. I haven't had an actual like sit down, this is what we're gonna do for your defense, this is the updates, this is, you know, what we're planning on doing in court, this is what we're gonna do in trial. Nothing like that. Absolutely nothing. No due process has happened at all. I have not had a defense. I have not had lawyers. Only by searching dockets. I ordered dockets from the court, and only by looking at the dockets have I known that I've had like 3 or 4 lawyers, and that I only knew about 2 of them. So, yeah, that's where we're at. There's a seagull flying. Am I catching him? He's flying right above the water. I don't think you guys could see him. So yeah, it's really bad. It's looking really, really bad, and it's been almost a year and a half. In May, I think it'll be a year and a half. And the court date is in a week in April. This is the very end of March. So, this is like, this is, you wouldn't think that Whatcom County would be this bad when it comes to courts. But, you know, in the family court, they never adhere to any kind of constitution, civil rights, human rights, none of that. And they don't seem to be doing that with the criminal court either, at least not in the municipal court. Probably has to do with the judge. The same judge has been in that court for decades. They're trying to act like I need a worse sentence and worse punishment for touching, because when you break it down, all I did was touch a couple of people. There were 2 people that were telling me to hit them. They kept wanting me to hit them over and over and over again. Like, it wasn't even just once. It was over and over and over again. Like, hit me, come on, hit me, kind of, you know how people are. Okay, so I touched them with a piece of canvas, really thin canvas fabric. In fact, we'll go over and show you how thin, because if we had a real trial, that's part of it, right? That'd be part of the trial. So let's look at a backpack. Okay, so this backpack happens to be thicker than the backpack that touched them. So this backpack has padding and the other one doesn't. But you see how thin this is, how movable it is, how soft it is, how it just it's not going to bruise somebody to touch. If this fabric right here, and it wasn't the zipper, it wasn't even the zipper, it was just the fabric. So see how thin that is? If this touches somebody, it's not going to bruise them, it's not going to cut them, it's not going to hurt them. Okay, so the assault wasn't really an assault, it was just some fabric touching their face, their forehead. Where it wasn't in their forehead is, it wasn't slapped. It wasn't slapped or hit. It was like literally just touching them. So you're dealing with that, and that's the only thing you're dealing with. And then you're dealing with the cops saying that trying to get back to your apartment because they're running after you like football players. And you're trying to get back to your apartment so that you can call 911 and have a supervisor come out, because the cops that came out are running after you like they're going to beat the living shit out of you. And we're talking like running. So you're trying to stay away from being beat up, right? So there's that. And then there's nothing else. So there was no assault. There was no, I mean, they call it an assault because if you touch somebody, it's an assault in Washington State. But it's in terms of the need for jail time, the terms of the need for punishment criminally, the terms of needing a criminal record. Okay, let's go over this. So the last lawyer I talked to said that I should have years of anger management years of probation, 2 to 5 years of probation, a year to 2 of anger management, and severe severe mental illness treatment during that, and possible drug testing or whatever as part of the probation, even though I don't use drugs. So let's go over this. This piece of fabric touched somebody. Okay, and this is thicker. This is thicker than the backpack that I had. This is a thicker backpack, and it's more padded, and it's heavier. The backpack that I had was actually a flimsy backpack. So let's go over this. So car prowlers, when I've gone into court, there's lots of people that get heard before me, like DUIs, car prowlers, thieves, stuff like that. So there was a car prowler that had the same defense lawyer, public defense lawyer thing. He got off scot-free. He got that guy off scot-free, so he didn't have to have anything because it was his first time doing it. They claimed that it was his first time doing it and got him off. There was another case where DUI had to do 6 months probation, and they want me to do a couple of years, and that DUI had a crash. Okay, so it wasn't a completely innocent DUI. It was some sort of crash, and I don't know how bad that crash was, but it was some type of crash. He had 6 months of probation. There was another DUI where he had a year of probation and some drug and alcohol classes, and he injured somebody. Okay, there's other situations where I know of that I wasn't in court, but I know of because people talk on the internet, on Facebook, about other people. There's people who have, in fact, I saw on the news not too long ago, there was a guy that had done graffiti all over Seattle, and this is Seattle, not Bellingham, but it's, okay, graffiti all over Seattle, did like $1 million worth of damage, or really close to $1 million worth of damage, like $800,000 worth of damage or something like that. They called him prolific. They basically made him sound like he was some sort of terrorist, and they gave him 1 year of probation. And I think there was a bunch of fines, and I think there was a little bit of jail time, but it was 1 year of probation. When this lawyer guy was wanting to argue that I should have 2 to 5 years probation for touching somebody with fabric, not hurting them, no scratch, no red mark, no bruise, no nothing. Can somebody tell me how the fuck this makes sense? I feel like he should go to jail for being terrorist against me. Like, just right off the bat. Like, he is fucking terrorizing me just by saying it. But if anybody can make that make sense, like, I can guarantee you, if I pulled up a whole bunch of crimes, somehow if I had access to people's criminals records and their sentences, even if it was only in Bellingham and not including things like Seattle News, okay, people don't even get arrested for using fentanyl. They can use fentanyl out in the open and leave their drugs laying around on the ground where other people can get exposed, their animals can get exposed, wildlife can get exposed, all the other shit can happen, and they don't get arrested because we believe it's a disease. But somebody needs 2 to 5 years of probation and years of anger management for touching somebody with fabric. Who was saying they wanted to be punched. Who was right up in your face. Yelling at you right up in your face. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.